Hello friends, before I get into introductions, I want to tell you what I'm showing you here. This is a digital kit that I've created. It is in my Etsy shop. It is called Retro Christmas or Vintage Christmas. It's one of the two. I think it's Retro Christmas. Sorry I couldn't remember the name, but it's the only Christmas digital that I have in my shop right now. So I wanted to show it to you because I'm going to be using it as the base for the journal that I am creating for this wonderful collaboration that I am in. Welcome to Crafty Christmas in July 2023, and that is the hashtag that those of us participating are using. If you want to join in, feel free to do that. Use the hashtag, and that way we can all find each other's videos. This fun collaboration is hosted by Sweet Pea Papers and also Lisa's Paper Lace and Bling. Yesterday's unboxing, well, the other day's unboxing that I did was goodies that were sent to all of the collaborators by Lisa. I will have all of our hosts' information in my description box. And it includes everybody's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Etsy store, all of that. I will also have a list of each of the collaborators. There are 14 collaborators. And I want to let you know that each of us are making 2 videos per week from the beginning of July to the end of July. Some might choose to make more than 2 videos, but that is the minimum is for us to make at least 2 videos each week. If you like to get a head start on your Christmas crafting, you will have plenty of inspiration that you can find if you follow this hashtag. And join in with us. That would be great fun. As I have been introducing this collaboration, I've been putting the pages together of my journal. But I wanted to let you know that today we're going to be working on creating clusters, but I did also want to introduce my journal to you as well. The kit that I created definitely has some vintage vibes in it. I wanted to let you know that I have printed out the digital kit on the back side of scrapbook paper, so you will see some popular scrapbook paper that has been out for a few years now. So I leaned into the pastels, and the digital kit that I created has a combination of pastels and true colors and also some teals that aren't really pastel-y, but they're teal. So it all works nicely together. Let's get into making some clusters. I plan on having a lot of fun with this. As you can see, I'm starting off the bat right away by crinkling up paper. I'm just in the mood to be really free about how I create these clusters. I'll be doing a lot of tearing. I'll be doing a lot of layering. So please join me and let's have some fun. And you don't have to make Christmas clusters. You can just grab some papers that you feel like crinkling up and then tearing up and make some summer clusters. Make whatever kind of clusters that you want. So when I create, usually the first thing I do is sort of get all my supplies around me, get all my goodies just around me and surrounding me and get them prepped so I can just pull them and get to work on them. So I've got the crinkled paper you saw, I've got some ephemera there, and now I'm cutting some of the lace. Now this lace, is it lace? It's a trim really. This was given to me by Lisa of Lisa's Paper Lace and Bling. As you can see, I'm cutting that into some small pieces, so I have some ready to go. I can just grab and start assembling once I get everything in order. Since I'm making clusters, I am going to want to attach them to a small paper backing. So I have this strip of cardstock. It's a nice heavyweight cardstock, 110-pound cardstock. And it was just a scrap, probably from when I cut my ephemera out. And this is going to make a great base. And then that way, no matter what kind of glue we choose to use, it'll glue right onto that base and then go into either our journal, onto tags, onto whatever we want to use these clusters for. Now, this is the crinkled up tissue paper, and I'm slicing that to size as well. Let the fun begin. We are going to start layering. Now you can see I'm using my hot glue gun, and I started with some wax paper just to cover the white board. It gives it a little, I don't know, a little something, you know, like, so you can, if I had put that fabric on there and I hadn't put the, not wax paper, but you know, the tissue paper down, you would just see the white board, and I think that would be kind of boring. So it's kind of nice to cover it up because the lace trim is a little bit translucent. I think we're off to a great start, but we definitely need to add one more element to this first piece. And actually this first cluster is a little bit more like a twinchy. It's smaller in size. It's very uniform in shape. So it's not, later on I'll be getting into some sort of just, I don't know what we want to call it, more like shabby chic clusters. But anyway, I like the uniformity of this one. Most of my work is not this way, but I really do like this. I put a little piece of lace on top just to finish it off, and I think we have a very pretty piece. I'll have to go ahead and just trim the edges there to get the excess lace off the top, but this turned out great. Actually, I've decided to add one more detail. I'm going to take one of these vintage buttons that Lisa sent, and I'm going to add that to the upper left-hand corner. Now, buttons are funny. They are not real textural usually, so I always scratch up my buttons with sandpaper. That way, no matter what glue I choose to use, the glue has something to grip onto, and the button shouldn't pop off. I think this turned out so sweet. I cannot wait to use it on something. So that was a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and do some more. Earlier this week, I did an unboxing video of the goodies that Lisa sent me, so you can always go over there and check out the package that she sent out. And the doilies were in the package, which, you know, these are fabulous. So I'm going to use a doily on this cluster. So once again, I'm using that tissue paper, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the doily on top of the tissue paper. And then I'm going to go ahead and put something on top of the doily. Typically when I'm making clusters, I will use a minimum of 3 layers, and sometimes, you know, there's more, but I think it's really good to use a minimum of 3. This green snowflake ephemera will look nice on top of that doily, so I'm just cutting that out. I'm going to hot glue that onto the doily, and then I'm going to sand and then glue a button into the center of that. I'm not sure why, but I feel like adding just a little bit of red detail to this. So I'm putting a little red around the edge of the button, and then just a little bit on the edges of the doily. Also decided to add a little bit of green, and then I'm going to grab my green ink pad and just dab it on there very lightly. I'm not getting crazy with it, just doing it very lightly just to put a little bit of color on the doily. What do you think? Do you like it? I like it. I think it looks great. Now I feel like I've got some vintage vibes going on since I used that doily. So I'm going to start this one with a piece of the crinkled up piano paper, and then on top of that I'm going to put a piece of lace, and then we're going to top that off with this faux stamp that is in my digital kit. This one is just about the size of a twinchy. I think it's so cute, and I like the combo of the white and the cream colored piano paper. Now this one is going to be fun. We're going to cut out the shape. We're kind of not cutting it too fussy cut, just sort of going around it. This is a vintage lady. I think she's fabulous. This is also a piece that's in my digital kit. So we're going to work with her, and we're going to make, I guess this is not really going to be too much of a cluster as much as it'll be an embellishment, because it's a little bit big for a cluster, I think. I'm going to add a piece of this lacy material under her, and then I think we will go ahead and mount that onto some pink scrapbook paper, which actually comes from a paper pad, but I don't know the name of it, but it's one that you've all seen before. It was sent to me by a friend in Happy Mail, And I think the scrapbook pack is called Sugar or something, but I'm not 100% sure. But it does have a Christmas image on the opposite side as well. And here she is. Since I've got this striped paper out, and I like it, it's kind of cool, I'm going to go ahead and use it for this little piece of ephemera from my kit. And because it's got a little pink Christmas tree on it, says Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas on it, and I just think they'll look good together. So we're just going to make a nice, simple cluster out of these two items. Very simple to put together, but very effective. I did some inking on it, I rounded the corners, and it's a fun little piece. All right, let's have some fun with this next one. I want to use this hot cocoa vibes. So I'm cutting that out with my decorative scissors just to give it some interest on the edges. I'm going to ink it up, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it down on this crinkled up piano paper. There's a little too much excess going around the edges, so I'm just going to tear that off by hand. I do not mind if the tears are uneven. That's the vibe I'm going for here. I'd like to set this on top of some fabric, but those doilies did not work. But I've got this lace that Lisa sent, and I'm going to double it up and just attach it to that. And I think that's just, it's perfect and it's ready to go. This one's got me in the mood to make a few more in that similar shape. Some rectangles with some words on them. So I've cut them to size, as you can see I'm doing here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put those on the crinkly piano paper. I'll go ahead and ink the edges, and then I will glue them onto the paper. Once I'm done with that, I will tear the paper to size, just like I did on the first one. Now I'm going to embellish each one with a button, and as I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and sand the back so that the glue can grip onto it. If you sand them, anything that you sand actually, make sure you wipe the dust off so that you get a good adhesion. Alright, let's do something a little bit different now. She sent the goodies in some tissue paper, so I decided I'd go ahead and tear that up and use that in this project also. So I started with our cardboard for our base, then a piece of tissue paper, and then a piece of the decorated tissue paper. Now I'm putting a scrap of the sort of lacy fabric on there. And on top of that, I'm using a piece of the tulle that she wrapped everything in. It's so pretty, and it's got these red poinsettias. They're glittery poinsettias. I'm just tearing off a little bit of some of the edges just to shape it up a little bit. I set that one aside, but truth be told, I think I go back later in the video and I end up adding a button to that, I think. Anyway, we'll see, because at the end I'm going to show all of these to you. So I've got this toilet paper roll, and I see people create things out of these all the time. I am not going to do that today. I am going to cut it, and I'm going to use it for backing, just like I did my scrap cardboard? No, my scrap card stock. Remember the white cardstock that I had started with? Well, I think I used them all. So I'm going to use the toilet paper roll for essentially the same thing, so that our glue has something to stick to when we're ready to pop it on top of a card or in our journal or wherever we're going to use these clusters. Okay, so we're going to have some fun with some tearing and some layering now. For this next one, I'm going to start with the tissue paper, then I'm going to add some piano paper, then I'm going to add the decorative tissue paper, and then I'm going to put one of those small doilies on top. This little candy cane is in my digital kit. I have cut this out and I'm trying to get around that edge there, and I used my hole punch to do it. It did a pretty good job with that. Just trimming it up a little bit. I'll add some ink to the edges, and then I'm going to put that on top of the doily. I wanted to let you guys know that if you do not have a variety of ink pad colors, you can use a marker, and I'm going to do that right here just to get into the spots that were hard for me to get to with my ink pad. But just so that you know, let's say you wanted purple on the edge of something but you didn't have purple ink pad, just use a purple marker and go around the edges with it. I do that all the time. I remembered that Lisa sent me a napkin, a paper napkin, so I think I want to go ahead and peel the layers off of that and use that in this project as well. I'm starting with our base, then tissue paper, then some lacy fabric, then some piano paper. Then I'm going to pop the napkin on top of that. I am really liking how this is looking, and I think topping it off with a button is going to be perfect. Hello my friends, I want to show you everything that I made today working with the goodies that were sent to me by Lisa's Paper Lace and Bling. So these are wonderful snippets. I can use these in some Christmas journals that I'll be making. I used fabric that she sent me, the piano roll, the tissue paper that everything came packaged in, cardboard from the toilet paper roll, the buttons that she sent me, the doilies that she sent me. I used so much actually of what she sent, and didn't these pieces come out so pretty? I love them. Oh, also the tulle. She sent me tulle with Christmas stuff on it. This one has a candy cane from my digital kit. More from the Christmas tulle here. This is an image from my Christmas kit, and we have layers of tissue paper, piano roll. Oh yeah, and then also the tissue paper that she sent with the like the Christmas images on it. Here's another one with one of the large doilies. I love this one. It's got tissue paper and the paper napkin. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that. All of these with this pretty green and cream colored, that's the paper napkin that I used that she had sent. So this one has some of that here, and then of course a doily and the tulle, and then this beautiful clear button. I hope you can see it because it really looks cool on there. And this is just some scrap paper that I had, the tissue paper, doily, and the tulle. I may or may not add a button to that. I don't want buttons on all of them, but I do think it adds a nice little detail. I made just a simple card here with using some of the lace. So this was from my stash, this was from my kit, and then the lace was something that she sent to me. Here's a very small one. This could almost be a twinchy. We got the cardboard that we started with. It's cardstock actually. some of the fabric lace that she sent, an image from my kit, and one of her vintage buttons. A few pieces of ephemera. Both of these are very similar. We got the ephemera both from my kit on top of the piano roll, and then I put a vintage button on top of each of those. This one is similar. It's got an image from my kit. It says Hot Cocoa Vibes. It's on piano roll, and then it's on top of 2 layers of the lacy fabric that she sent. This is one of my favorites coming up. This, we have our vintage lady. She's in my digital kit. She's sitting on top of some lace fabric, and then that is on top of a piece of scrapbook paper, but it's cardstock. This one is smaller in size. We started with our scrap cardstock, the piano roll, the lacy fabric, and then a stamp from my digital kit. This one started with the paper, then the tissue paper, then a doily, and then an image from my kit, and then a vintage button on top of that. And last but not least, which actually was the very first one I think that we made, we had our cardstock, the tissue paper, the lace fabric, a little star from the kit, and some lace across the top, and a vintage button. The name of my digital kit is Retro Christmas, in case you were interested in that. And that is in my, I'll link it in my description box, but it's obviously in my Etsy shop. So, thank you, Lisa, for all the goodies that you sent me. And look at all of this wonderful little twinchies and I want to call them scrunchies, but they're not. You guys know what I'm talking about. Clusters. All these wonderful clusters that I was able to make. Well, thanks for watching. See you soon.